I know I'm supposed to talk about social media branding. I didn't think it was going to be super important for you guys because you don't need to, for now, in my opinion. Not because it wouldn't benefit you, but because there are other things that I think would benefit you more, just to be clear. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you this little tirade, and then I may have time, but I may not have time at the end for Q&A. We'll see. So, oftentimes the things that is limiting the business is the big, obvious thing. So, we have really big egos about our business. We assume that it's exceptional. We assume that it's excellent, right? But in your heart of hearts, you probably know that if you were actually fucking exceptional, you would not be asking questions about how to get more leads. Because you would have people referring their friends. And referrals, by the way, are nonlinear in that they are exponential in nature. 2 bring 4, 4 bring 8, etc. So the book, the $100 Million Offers book, was probably my first big experience with that because I spent like a very long time writing it. And then I gave it away for 99 cents. And I made one post, and I think this one I had like 20,000 Instagram followers in total, and I didn't have really any other platforms. And that book, to this day, sells more copies every month than it did the month before. And like last month, it sold 25,000 copies. It's like almost 1,000 books a day, 1,000 customers every day. No marketing spend, just word of mouth, right? And 14,000 5-stars. And so, like, it's the big obvious thing. And from being in the room with billionaires and decabillionaires, the thing that has become so clear to me is that the people who are obsessed with their product are the ones that get the compounding. And so every business needs to have some sort of compounding vehicle within it, otherwise you're going to spend the rest of your life trying to promote it. So think about it this way. If I spend 2 years trying to write a book, and at the end of the 2 years it's exceptional, I'm going to give the alternative example first. If I spend 2 months writing a book, and I publish it, and then I have to spend the rest of my life trying to promote it to get people to buy it, it's a tough life. Low leverage. On the flip side, if I spent 2 years trying to build something fucking incredible, and then let my customers market it for me for the rest of my life, more work up front, less work long term. It's just that being willing to delay satisfaction or gratification is, in my opinion, the single greatest skill that you can develop. And what's wild is that a lot of you guys think you have that skill. You only do when it comes to cookies, but not when it comes to money. And so you like give your clients all these lectures about self-discipline and being hard and like, you know, believing in your better self, but like you will take actions that are in direct contradiction, that same thing. It's just we're switching calories for dollars. Same thing. And so when I see a lot of the gym owners that struggle, it's just the big obvious thing. The sandwich sucks. They're like, dude, what's the new marketing thing for like gyms? I'm like, have you tried your sandwiches? They are terrible. Why would you want more people to know? Right? Like it's real though, right? Like imagine I had a mediocre book, which is what most people would have, and then I spent tons of money trying to market it. Why would I do that? It sounds ridiculous when you think about it. You're like, I'm just gonna let everyone know I'm mediocre. That would suck. But that's what a lot of people in this room do every day. And so the thing is that, in my opinion, if I were to start a gym over today, I would consistently work on the actual product, the experience, the way people get greeted, the trainings for all of the teams, into the world's simplest model. And until people were not leaving, I would not be worried about bringing more customers in. Once you get that right, then when you're pouring all this gas in, you can catch it. Because if you got a hole out the other side, your constraint is the fact that people don't stay. And so the biggest thing that you have to solve for, because now we buy into a lot of brick and mortar chains, it's one of my favorites, unsurprisingly, is LTV, or lifetime gross profit, over everything. The guys who can spend the most money on marketing are the ones who make the most money from ads. So when you see these massive marketing companies or these massive campaigns that are out there, it's not because they're better at marketing. It's because their LTV enables them to spend as much as humanly possible on the marketing. If you print cash on the back end, you can get silly on the front end. This has to sink in, Like, this has to sink in, and I keep being repetitive about this because I continue to get the same questions whenever I go, and it's like, what's the new marketing trick? What's the new hack? And it's like, you have to solve the root issue. And it's kind of like it's like the gal who's like, hey, is it keto? Is it intermittent fasting? Is it, like, I'm just trying to give the parallel here. Like, that's what you sound like. You don't get it. You got to understand how to count your macros. It is what it is. Done. And so, like, in the business, it's like you have to figure out how to get the mousetrap to work, even at its simplest level, so that people actually like the thing you have. And I just feel like so many of the gyms that I see and I go to, it's obvious, like, it takes 5 seconds to see why they're not successful. And the gym owner, because they're in it, can't see it, because their ego, their identity is attached to it. Because you think that if your gym sucks, it means you suck. And that's not true. So you have to break that. You should be like, oh yeah, we suck at that. Onboarding, non-existent. Churn, through the roof. You should see my trainers. Sleeping with each other, it's terrible. Place, absolute pigsty, right? So what's your plan? I'm gonna market it. I'm gonna market it. So, to give a quick recap, and if I have time for Q&A, I will. 1, brand is making associations between things that are intangible with things that are tangible and unknown. So, things that people like, if I hold a bunch of bricks of gold on stage or I hold a bunch of stacks of cash, you will make associations of money with me. And if you didn't know who I was, you would assume that I have something to do with money. That would be your assumption. That would be the association. If I stand next to a porn star, you would assume other things, right? Associations. And so if you want to build a brand, associate the service that you have with the intangible ideas you want the prospect to believe about you. So if you want them to think that you are clean and you are friendly and that you care, then start there. Magic wand. If you feel sad, immediately translate that into, I do not know what to do next. It massively simplifies this very hard, painful experience. It's been really helpful for me. So if you feel hopeless or you don't know what to do, it means you just don't have options. Like, you don't perceive that you have options. It's a lack of options. So you just have to become informed. All right? So whenever I think sadness, I think ignorance. It's like, oh, that's solvable. And then I can start attacking it. On the flip side, if you have lots of options and you feel anxiety, it's because you don't know how to pick, which means you have to prioritize. It means you have a lack of strategy. Strategy is getting the most bang for the buck. It is allocating finite resources against infinite options. And some of the biggest strategic moves are outside the board. And that's where sometimes having gym launch, other people, et cetera, is helpful because you have outside eyes. So your mouth, inch below your nose, but you still need somebody else to tell you have bad breath. I heard that the other day. I really liked it. Right now, there's a constraint in your business. If you do not know what the constraint of your business is, you will not solve it. You'll continue to do the shit you have been doing, and that has not been getting you what you want. So right now, unless you change the activities you do, you will not change the getting that you are getting.